Hey there, my Equalizer fans. It's your girl, Barbie J here, and we are talking about Season 3, Episode 5, Blowback. And this was yet another good episode. They always have these great episodes. This one's supposed to be about some smuggler who's being detained by the CIA and must be transferred quickly to a secure debriefing site. And when the smuggler was caught, he was caught in Spain. That's where he was when he got caught. And I guess they brought him back to the United States for whatever reason. But the episode title, Blowback, I don't get that. If anybody understands that title, Blowback, please put it down in the comment section. Usually I can understand why they named something, whatever. But Blowback, unless it has to do with the ending part when she finds out who certain people are, and it all relates to things that happen back in other episodes or back in other seasons. So maybe that's the blowback. I don't know. Anyway, let me get started here. So it starts off with Delilah, Aunt Vi, and Robin. They're in the kitchen discussing the dinner date that they're having that night with Mel and Harry. And Robin mentions that, this is strange because she has spent so much time keeping her family and work separate. And Aunt Vi was like, well, you need to let go of that now because it's going to happen, especially after they took so much good care of us when you were kidnapped. Okay, so then Aunt Vi was being a little funny, you know what I mean? She's telling Robin, why don't we, maybe we should invite that nice detective. And Robin said, okay, now you're being just plain messy. And Aunt Vi laughs. I was like, ooh, go ahead, Aunt Vi. And Delilah was sitting right there, so they all know there's some chemistry going on then. So then she told Aunt Vi that she didn't forget their deal. However, this case that she's working on now is classified, so she can't tell her anything about it. And she won't be reachable. Oh, so Aunt Vi's like, yeah, all right, how convenient. But she said, yeah, but it's true. So anyway, then we see Dante. He's making breakfast for his sons while questioning them on things about life he has taught them. And he taught them that responsibilities take no days off, which is something that his father taught him when he was younger. So then he gets a call from the Cartwright Correctional Facility, and he accepted the charges, and it's his dad. So he goes to meet with him and learns that his pops cut a deal with the DA and may be getting out of jail in about 4 weeks. So Dante is surprised because in the past, his father would turn down these types of deals, So now he's asking his dad, whom he calls Pops, let me say. I keep saying dad, but he kept calling him Pops. He asks him what he needs from him, and his dad says he wants to meet his boys and get a chance to be a part of his grandson's lives. So being inside, he said, has given him the time to think about the mistakes he made with Marcus. So he's now asking Marcus to get to know his grandsons. So I was like, oh, this is deep. And you could see on Marcus' face that he's not really down for that. Anyway, meanwhile, Robin and other CIA agents, including Griffin, are taking this difficult prisoner to a holding site. And the prisoner's doing all this talking and stuff, and he's just uncomfortable with them, and he's feeling that he's not safe, that he's going to get killed, and he's letting them know that the Brigada got eyes and ears on every level, including the upper levels of the CIA, basically saying that they have a mole in the CIA. And Robin is looking at him and listening, while the other ones, because she's kind of the outsider. The other ones are actual agents. She just used to work for them. So the prisoner feels that they are not capable of protecting him appropriately. Then we have Delilah. She goes to see Mel and tells her that she asked Robin to train her to protect herself and that she said no. So now she wants Mel to train her behind Robin's back. So when Mel says she can't do that, Delilah says, that she respects Mel's decision and walks away saying that she'll have to go and find someone else who will. I said, oh, God, she a little stubborn thing. She very stubborn. Anyway, if your mother tells you no, it's no. And that's it. You don't go to her friends behind her back. So that's an issue right there. But I guess that's a teenage thing you got to say. So then the prisoner says, I forgot what the prisoner's name is. Rideback or something like that. Rideback. Then he says something to one of the agents in Arabic, and Robin understood it and asked him where did he hear that from. And he states from another agent named Bishop. Then he could tell by Robin's face that Bishop is dead, because he said maybe he's dead. I could tell, or something like that, he said. Then the van stops and the prisoner gets nervous, and they tell him they're supposed to make a scheduled van switch. So they go to the next van and the driver is dead. And all of a sudden, gunfire erupts. And when they are done, they go back to the first van and the prisoner ride back is gone. So now we have Detective Dante in his beautiful new home. He's in there talking to his mom, who doesn't think he can afford it, but he's letting his mom know that he got a very substantial amount of money from the Gatling County settlement he got for those officers who abused him. Remember, they kidnapped him and beat him? So he got a large, substantial amount, he said, and he doesn't know what he's going to do with it. So his mother stated that she knows it came from a dark place, but there is a lot of good he can do with that money. And so after they discussed that, then they started talking about Dante's father, who's getting out of prison. So he tells her he spoke to the boy's mother, Vanessa, about it, and she's fine with it because she always felt family was important. So Dante and his mother are basically remembering how hard his father was on him growing up. And when his mother, walks out of the room, Dante texts Robin asking if she's around, that he needs to talk. I said, he need to get some advice from his boo bear, his boo-boo. Let me stop. Anyway, the agents, they split up. And they look for Ryback. Remember, I told you he disappeared. They couldn't find him. So they looking for Ryback, and Robin finds him hiding in a trunk. She happened to follow a trail of blood. I guess he got shot or something. And then they realize that their mission has been compromised, and they need to go off the grid and to take the prisoner in, to get him in. So Robin says she knows a place and suggests the prisoner sticks with her because she has a 100% survival rate. Because this prisoner was being so difficult. He really was. Meanwhile, Dante is sparring with a guy, and he's at a gym, a boxing gym, and he keeps hearing his father's voice, and he gets a little rough with his sparring partner, and the owner of the gym, Benny, is like telling him, yo, we just sparring. And he's like, I lost, he lost focus or something it was, he said. So Benny's talking about closing the place down, the gym, because the mortgage is high and membership is down. And Dante thinks a fundraiser will help. But Benny says, yeah, but in a few months down the road, I'll be back in the same place, So, Dante was reminiscing how his father used to bring him there and he used to train there and all this stuff. And, and that, it'd be sad for the community to have that place closed down. He took in a lot of youth there, yada, yada. Anyway, he left and that was that. Then we had Mel is telling Harry about what Delilah asked of her, and it seems she's considering doing it behind Robin's back, saying that she really would not be letting Robin down by doing that. She's trying to make it seem like she'll be helping her, and something that happened in her past makes her feel this way. So Harry tells her that it's a tough call and that whatever she decides to do, he will support her. Oh, that's such a good husband, right? So then we got Robin. She takes those agents and the prisoner to a warehouse, and one of the agents pulls a gun on Robin when she was going to call Bishop's security to help them. But he accused her of being the mole because she's outsider, she's the one that's on the outside. So she's telling him to calm down, and then she sees a light on his head and she yells for him to get down, and he's not listening, and he's like got the gun pointing at her thinking she the mole, and he refuses to listen and gets shot. So he's dead. So they realize that this sniper must have, followed them. So Robin's location is stocked with this warehouse is stocked with weapons, and Ryback says he's warming up to her now because he saw her, the type of weapon she got. She just rolled her eyes at him, and she tells them that they need to split up in the teams to protect themselves, and wants Griffin and Ryback to team up together. And Griffin doesn't think he should have a gun. But Robin lets him know that they need all the help they can get. Plus, she said Ryback is off the rails and that he's not crazy. He just wants to live. So, so they cut Ryback's cuffs off, and she tells him that if he even tries one thing stupid, she gonna shoot him herself. And he said, I wouldn't expect anything else. so then Robin, she says she'll be with the female agent, and they get into place. But it seemed like Robin looked at the female agent kind of sideways, like, let's check you out, but later on we find nothing from that. So then we have Mel and Harry showing up to the house to meet Aunt Vi, and Dee says to Mel to forget what she said earlier. And then Mel asks, where's Robin? And Dee says she's not back yet. And Mel looked a bit, concerned, but never said anything else. Then we have the bad guys who come to the warehouse, and the shooting starts, and the female agent gets killed. And once the gunfire stops, Robin pulls a gun on Griffin and Ryback and says one of them led those Brigada's people to them, and they better start talking because she'll shoot them both herself. I said, okay, Robin is pissed right now. And she said she could tell us they followed. She said nobody was following us. So somebody is not telling the truth. So she's like, she makes them both put down their guns and roll up their sleeves. And Griffin is saying, this is crazy. So Ryback does it. And then Griffin doesn't want to, but when he does, she sees that he has a self-tracking device implanted under his skin. So he tried to reach for his gun, but she threatened to shoot him. Then she starts putting it all together. And she said, oh, it was you who gave me up to Quinn. And it was you who poisoned Delgado so he couldn't tell us about the dirty bomb. And she said, and you the one who let Quinn grab his gun up on the roof. I was like, wow, he was there for all of those on that roof. And he was the one who told Quinn that Bishop was on that plane. So he said that he didn't have a choice, and Robin said, you always have a choice. So he tells her what went down and how he got into the position that he's in, saying that he didn't have a way out. And she said, you did, but you're a coward. And she said, and he can turn himself in right now. And he states that he refuses to spend the rest of his life in prison, and said on 3, he going to pull his gun, and told McCall not to miss. And basically he wanted her to kill him. But she shot him in both shoulders and in the knee. And at that point, the CIA came busting in, pointing guns at them, and Griffin is on the ground. So Robin addresses the first agent, Duffy, I think it was his name was, and asks how did he know they were there. And she asked that when he stated that, oh, they said you might be here. And she was like, who said? And he said, we heard about the garage and have been searching for the team since. And she said, that didn't answer my question. She said, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to get me some answers. And he just looked at her and walked away, and they took Ryback, who let Robin know that she ain't too bad for a mall cop. He called her a mall cop regarding that 100% survival rate she told him she had earlier. So back at the house, we're seeing that they're all trying not to worry about Robin because, she did say that she would be unreachable. So when the phone rings and it's Robin, because Ron ran over to it, she says she's running late but needs to make one stop first. And Vi is glad to hear, Robin's voice, but tries to act as if they didn't even notice that she was late because they were having such a good time. And Robin's like, okay. So Robin stops at Dante's new house and apologizes that she couldn't get there sooner, but it's been one of those days, she told him. So she said that his text seemed like it was important. So he sits down and tells her what's going on with his dad and what he went through with him growing up. And he's afraid to set his sons up for that same disappointment. So she lets Marcus know that his father has had a lot of time to think about who he's been. Is there any chance he can come out of the jail, a better man? And Marcus says it's possible. So Robin says, you may want to find out, maybe sooner than later. Then she said that her dad was her best friend, and one day he was there and the next he was gone. So she tells him, she has to go and that they can continue this talk later. Marcus walks Robin to the door, honey, and she gets close up in his face and tells him that, his dad must have done something right because he raised him to be the man he is today. And then Robin hugged him real tight. Yeah, she hugged her boo bear real tight to her body. I was like, oh, child, stop it, stop it, stop it. The electricity that flows between them, the way she was staring into his face and he was looking at hers. You should even seen his face when she rang the doorbell and he opened it and she was standing there. I was like, good God almighty, I wish they'd get it on already. Oh. So now we have Mel talking to Delilah in private and decides that she will train Delilah, saying that she would regret it more if she didn't help her. So Mel tells her that she has two conditions. First, Delilah must do everything she says exactly as she says it, no pushback. And Delilah said she promised, because she said, we are not friends when we do this. She says, second, at some point she'll have to tell Robin, and when she does, she will say it was her idea and Dee must go along with it, because Mel knows that Robin is going to be pissed and she doesn't want this to draw a wedge between those two. And it looked like, if you look at Delilah's face, she looked like concerned, because it's almost like she's lying to her mother. I think that's how she's feeling. I'm not sure. And at this point, Robin gets home and they all hug and Harry makes a toast. They eat and enjoy themselves. We now have Marcus looking at old pics of him and his dad when his youngest son comes down and asks what he's doing, and he starts telling him about his grandfather and who he'd never known about. And like kids, they ask questions and Marcus answers them. We then see the gym owner. He comes in, picks up his mail on the floor, opens a yellow envelope that's with no address or anything on it, and it contained a notice that his mortgage was paid in full. And he was totally surprised and shocked. I was like, damn, who did that? But I'm sure he may have an idea who did it. I'm thinking it was Dante. I think he did it because he's the one that wanted that gym to stay around. And I think mostly for the neighborhood kids. And it ends with Robin in the cemetery. She's talking to Bishop's headstone when Agent Carlton Fisk, a.k.a. Rideback, shows up. So she figured out who he was by the way he moved, she said, and handled his gun. It reminded her of Bishop, and then he confirmed that he was trained by Bishop. So then they have a bit of a little disagreement about how he put on this whole prisoner act and everything, and went through all of this just to flush out a mole. And he was concerned. He said that she may be a mole as well, but he figured she wasn't, one, because she didn't kill Griffin when she had the chance to. Then he told her that the arrangement she had made with Bishop with the CIA is now under his supervision and she works for him. And she said, first of all, I don't work for anyone and I would never work for someone as reckless as you. And as they went back and forth, little arguing or whatever, it ended with him saying that she is guilty of getting Bishop killed. It's because of her selfish obsession with Quinn that he was on that plane when he should have been doing something for him. And that's how it ended. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. I thought it was a pretty darn good episode. And this was the first time she didn't have to use Mel and Harry. She didn't have to use Dante. And I like that switch up, that she didn't have to keep calling on them for stuff, because she used to do some of this stuff on her own anyway. So this was a great episode, and I'm so glad that chemistry and that fire that's lighting up between Marcus and Robin, or Dante and McCall, is really starting to heat up even more. So y'all let me know what y'all thinking about, if y'all excited about it too. And for those of you who haven't subscribed to my channel, please take a moment now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, and it'll let you know every time I upload a new video. Then I ask that you hit the thumbs up button, the like button, write a comment, and share. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.